So let's touch for a while on shamanism in terms of,
Okay.
again, people listening may recognize, oh yes, I can certainly feel there is a call back to animism that's here for me. But how would I know that it's, there is also might be a call to shamanism, to practicing shamanism, to become a shamanic practitioner of some kind? How would they know?
Mm. That's kind of hard. I think if pe if people are being called to be a kind of, hardcore shamanic or rather animistic kind of practitioner, one could call a priest or a priestess, I guess, in a way. So they're really doing it as a big thing. It's not like I mean, everybody should have an animistic life as far as I'm concerned and make
Mm,
offerings and, have that interconnection with the world. But some people are called to do it in a deeper way and they become people who are important within their community. And just a brief sidetrack about the word community, it can be the people that you know on Facebook. It doesn't need to be the people in your street. And, community is a broad word. But if you
mm,
are acting as yeah, I'm going to use the word priest or priestess because it's kind of seems to fit. You're doing it as more than just for yourself or your local, your family. Then you might feel that you're being pulled to do shamanic work too, but it's hard to know. I mean, if you're really connected in an animistic way, then animals and other events will kind of dance in your life. You may see loads of deer leaping across in front of you in the car, or lots of crows, or whatever it is. So you have that kind of connection that the world is responding to you and giving you signs. And that happens a lot with shamanism.
mm,
Shamanism, you often will get the kind of classic shaman sickness, but that doesn't always happen. Shaman sickness is kind of like a shredding of ability to cope in the world. Um, and if you were in a shamanistic culture, you would probably have a shaman called in to diagnose you. And that's, in a way, that's the only yardstick. But that's difficult in the West because you might do kind of mystical stuff and your neighbor might say, well, you're a bit of a shaman, aren't you? And they don't really know what shamanism is. So it doesn't count. I mean, if an indigenous, if an indigenous shaman tells you that you're a shaman, then you need to pay attention to that. But
mm,
again, this is difficult too because you can't always trust indigenous shamans because they know Europeans really want to learn about shamanism and there's
mhm.
bucks to be made. And, you know, um, I had an encounter with some shamans from southern Siberia a couple of years ago, and they were charging an enormous amount of money for a workshop, and then on the workshop they said that everybody on the workshop had to make offerings of money, and the shaman's assistants actually went with the participants to cash points and encouraged them to get large amounts of cash out to put on the altar, which was an offering to the spirits, the
Yeah.
shamans,
Where did that go?
the people who were pretending to be shamans. So, I mean, there's so much bogus
Mm,
stuff, and I get really sort of cross about the ayahuasca tourism trade too, because
mm,
there's so many people that kind of crawl out of the woodwork and con people. So having a shaman, in inverted commas, tell you you're a shaman doesn't necessarily mean something. You need to know what that shaman's about and know if you can actually trust them and they're not just hoodwinking you.
mm,
But it's hard to know. I think events happen in your life and they keep happening in your life. It's like the universe taps you on the shoulder and you kind of ignore the tapping. So the tapping gets louder or harder. And eventually the universe kind of whops you across the back with a plank of wood because you're not paying attention. Um, so if the universe is starting to kind of tap you on the shoulder and eventually kind of maybe hitting you on the shoulder, then you need to take notice and also the whole idea of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's such a
mm,
cliche, but it's really true. I've got a friend who was called to shamanism, and they met a Tuvan-trained shaman in a laundrette in London, and that's how they became that shaman's apprentice. It's like it really happens, you know? Um, and some people don't ever get it. It depends on your karma. There's I can't remember what the word is, but as I understand it, the Mongolian word for a butterfly's cocoon is the word used for people who have got the potential to be shamans, but they never meet a teacher, and they kind of often live a sort of half-life. They're never born as
Oh.
butterflies. They're still in the cocoon. So
Hmm.
it really does depend. Um,
Hmm.
but I think if stuff is happening for you and you are also feeling a pull to a tradition, whatever that tradition is, then explore it.
Hmm.
Um, do your best to explore, and we're so lucky now. I mean, when I was kind of first getting into all of this, and certainly when I was much younger, there wasn't the internet, and there wasn't the ability to go and watch shamans performing, you know, in a video about Mongolia or South America or wherever. And now there's so much out there. There's so many resources. So if you're getting a pull, if you're getting, you know, a heart tug to follow a tradition or find out about a tradition, then do it, because that's the only way. We have to be educated. And again, those people that were conning, you know, those fake shamans from Siberia. I didn't meet the shamans. I had to deal with the aftermath, because the people thought they had been cursed by the shamans because they hadn't given enough and all
Oh
sorts of
my
crazy
gosh.
stuff. So they came to me, and it was a real mess and whatever. But if we are knowledgeable about stuff and we educate ourselves, we're not going to get conned so easily, because we know it more.